I'm with Qustandi Shomali, and we're talking about a new book that has just been published, Bethlehem and the Holy Land, a guidebook and more. What's the book about, Qustandi?
This is a guidebook for visitors and pilgrims who come to Bethlehem in order to help them see Bethlehem as it should be seen. Not only to see the Church of Nativity, but to see other sites inside the town and around the town, and to give them the opportunity to meet local Christians, local people, in order to have an idea about the Palestinian culture, about the Palestinian society. So the book is developed in accordance with the goal of cultural tourism. It covers also socio-cultural aspects of the local community to better convey the current situation.
And will this book help travellers as they visit the Holy Land?
Yes, the book is mainly about Bethlehem. Bethlehem as an important site where Christianity started 2,000 years ago. But as most pilgrims would like to have a publication not only about Bethlehem, but about the Holy Land also, we added a chapter at the end of the book concerning the Holy Land. We explained everything about places like Jerusalem, Jericho, Ramallah, Nablus, Hebron. So this part of the book is also important because it helps also the tourist to see other sites besides Bethlehem. Of course, the book it aims also at deepening the understanding of visitors to Bethlehem and the Holy Land. When we included the last chapter, the aim was to make the historical and archaeological information about the sites in Jerusalem, Jericho, Ramallah, Nablus, Hebron, Jenin, and Gaza well known to the tourist in a comprehensive religious and cultural context. But Bethlehem as an important town which occupies a very important image in the imagination of a lot of Christians in the world, it deserves to have a comprehensive book about not only the Church of Nativity, but all other sites inside the town and around the town, and about the culture, the people, the tradition, the early Christians who are living here since 2,000 years.
And what significant sites can people see when they come to visit Bethlehem?
Of course, the most important site is the Church of Nativity. And we have also the Grotto of the Nativity and Grotto of Saint Jerome. Saint Jerome is one of the first pilgrims who came to Bethlehem and established with Saint Paula the first two convents, one for the men, one for the women. And this is why in Bethlehem you will see many convents for nuns, because the first convent for consecrated women for God was established here by Saint Paula in Bethlehem. So every congregation around the world would like to have like a small house here in Bethlehem as the first house for consecrated women was established here by Saint Paula. The same thing for Saint Jerome. Saint Jerome, who died in Bethlehem and spent 20 years in translating the Bible. And to do this important job, he gathered scholars with different backgrounds in order to study all the old manuscripts of the Bible and to do the official translation that we know today, the Vulgata. And he established like a school, which is known today as the School of Saint Jerome, in which he translated, with the help of his colleagues, the Bible into Latin. And this is why UNESCO chose the feast of Saint Jerome, the day of Saint Jerome, which is the 30th of September, every year as the International Day of Translation, because the important contribution that was done by Saint Jerome. And as you know, maybe that many publication houses around the world, in Europe and elsewhere, are called Saint Jerome Printing Press or Publication House. They carry the name of Saint Jerome because of his contribution in the field of translation and writing many books and letters about the Holy Land. So we have Saint Jerome Grotto, and we have also the Milk Grotto, which is a very important site, which is visited not only by Christians, it is also visited by Muslims, because they have a belief that by visiting this grotto, where the Virgin Mary, before going to Egypt, because of the fear that Herod will kill Jesus, she was in a hurry and she was nursing the baby Jesus, and a drop of milk dropped on the floor, and all the rocks inside the grotto became white. So women nowadays believe that if they take a small part of that chalk, put it in water and drink it, they will have the opportunity to have more milk, or also to conceive a baby if they don't have babies. And there was a small museum near the grotto of photos of many women and families from around the world who came to pray here. They didn't have children, but after visiting and praying here in the grotto, they have children. We have also the cistern of King David, the place which is north of the town of Bethlehem, but inside the town. You have the Solomon Pools, of course, in Bethlehem, and you have also many museums in Bethlehem. We have about 10. Most of them are small museums, but they show the nativity. They show also the local heritage, Palestinian heritage, because Bethlehem is well known of the industry of olive wood and mother of pearl. So we have a lot of factories, and we have one a museum which is called Al-Bad, show the olive tree and how we can use the olive tree for different purposes, including the handicraft of olive wood. Of course, around Bethlehem we have many other places, like we have the Shepherd Field in Beit Sahur, which is a very important site. This is the place where, for the first time, 3 shepherds heard the good news that Jesus will be born in Bethlehem. And they were the first people on earth to go and see the baby Jesus. So this site is visited as a second place after the Church of Nativity. And we have also in Beit Jala St. Nicholas Grotto, where he lived for a while and used to help the poor. St. Nicholas is Santa Claus. Yeah. So the town of Beit Jala, every year on the 19th of December, they celebrate the feast of St. Nicholas, because he lived in that grotto inside the church of St. Nicola in Beit Jala. We have many convents in Bethlehem that can be visited, and they have hostels sometimes for pilgrims and tourists. But around Bethlehem we have, for example, Herodium, where Herod built his palace. We have also many convents which were built by the early pilgrims to the Holy Land in the 4th and 5th centuries, like St. Saba, St. Theodosius, where very famous scholars lived and wrote very important books in these places. And these places are still living until today, since like 450, 500 AD until today. We have also many villages around Bethlehem full of ruins of churches, of Roman structures that can be visited. And we hope in the future that the Palestinian Authority will be able to rehabilitate most of these places, which are sacred sometimes for Christians, and sometimes there are other places for Muslims or other religions. But they are important and should be visited and rehabilitated because of the situation here, the occupation since 1967, and the Palestinians had no control on many parts of the West Bank. They have control only on 18% of the land, you see. So they are not able to prepare these places for pilgrims and visitors. But we hope in the near future this will be done.
Now, of course, Nativity Church, which is the most popular place here in Bethlehem, it's the oldest church in the Middle East, isn't it?
It's the oldest church in the Middle East, but it is the oldest living church in the world, you see, because it was built in 326 by Queen Helena, the mother of Emperor Constantine. However, it was harmed during the Samaritan Revolt in 529. But it was restored and rehabilitated and enlarged in the 6th century by Emperor Justinian. And the structure that we see today is the Justinian structure. But many sections inside, like the floors, the columns, and many parts of the church are Constantinian from 326. But the church stayed like this, despite that during history, most of the churches in Palestine were destroyed, including the Holy Sepulchre was destroyed many times. But this church was kept without destruction for different reasons. One of them, that during the Persian invasion to Palestine in 614, they saw the image of the Magi on the wall in front of the church, and they were dressed in traditional dress similar to the Persian dress. So in respect to their ancestors and to their traditions, they did not destroy the Church of Nativity, while they destroyed all other churches. You see, of course, also there are many stories, many miracles, many events happened in the Church of Nativity, which is part of the religious folklore here in Bethlehem, which is related to always to the importance and the protection of the Church of Nativity, whether by the Virgin Mary or by Jesus himself. So the Church of Nativity is, until today, one of the most living churches, most oldest, but it is also one of the holiest places for Christians around the world, because this is the place where Jesus was born and Christianity started. But also inside the church we have grottos. You will see the skulls of children which were massacred by Herod, because after the visit of Magi to baby Jesus in the grotto, Herod asked them to come back to him so he can go also and visit baby Jesus. But his intention was, in fact, to kill baby Jesus, because he don't want, as it was predicted, a new king will come. So the Magi did not go back to Herod. They went without seeing him. So Herod was angry, and he killed around 6,000 children 2 years old and under in the area of Bethlehem. And some of the skulls of these children are kept in grottos under the Church of Nativity. This, of course, reminds us of the brutality of Herod, and also remind us of the brutality that we see today happening again here in the Holy Land. And the brutality also happened in 2002 when the Israeli army made an incursion inside Bethlehem and attacked the Church of Nativity because some of the Palestinians went to hide inside the church, and they were wanted by the Israeli authorities. And they fired and killed 4 people inside, but also they fired bullets, and part of the convent, which is the Franciscan convent, was burned because of the attack of the soldiers on the church. However, this was restored, and now UNESCO, with the help of the Palestinian Authority, is restoring the church again, especially the roof of the church, which was changed through history many times. The present roof exists since the 14th century, and part of the roof now, especially the wood, which was brought from Venice in Italy, have decayed, you see, and restoration is done, and this started just a year ago, and we hope it will be completed very soon.
Now, of course, Jesus was born here in Bethlehem, but many other biblical characters have a relationship with Bethlehem as well, don't they?
Yes, of course, we have, first of all, King David was born in Bethlehem and buried in Jerusalem. We have also, of course, Jesus was born in Bethlehem. We have Rachel was buried in Bethlehem when Jacob was traveling south with his family. His wife died just at a short distance near Bethlehem, and we have here the tomb of Rachel. Now, the tomb of Rachel existed since hundreds of years, and it was transformed into a mosque because Rachel is the mother of all faithfuls, Muslims and Christians and Jews. However, during the Ottoman period, the Jews were able to bribe the Ottoman authorities in order to give them the key of that mosque and to transform the mosque into also another different place where the Jews can pray. So the place became sacred for Muslims and Jews and visited by both of them. And the Christians also, before 1967, before the Israeli occupation to the West Bank and to Bethlehem, they used to go and visit the place. However, today, since 10 years, the Israelis are not allowing Christians and Muslims to visit the place, and they surrounded the place, which is inside Bethlehem now, by a big wall, and closing the main entrance of Bethlehem from Jerusalem. And this entrance was the traditional road of all pilgrims since 2,000 years. And for the first time in history, this road of pilgrimage from Jerusalem to Bethlehem is closed. And a big wall is established there. So we are trying to change the history, the Christian history, you see. So we hope in the future this wall will disappear and the tomb of Rachel will be open for all visitors, Muslims, Christians, and Jews.
How long did it take for you to put your book together?
Now, this book, of course, we wrote another book in 1997 in order to prepare Bethlehem for the Millennium celebration. And this book was translated to many languages: French, English, German, Italian, and Spanish, you see. And it was out of print. And many things happened in Bethlehem since then. And we felt that, myself and my wife, that many people are always asking about a special book about Bethlehem, mainly in English. So we thought that after almost 17 years, it's time to prepare a new edition, a new book about Bethlehem, updated with the new things that happened in Bethlehem, like the visits of popes. We have 3 popes visited since the year 2000, and many other things happened in Bethlehem, and to add also a chapter about the Holy Land. So we spent almost 1 year to prepare the material, and it was printed last week, and the launch was done in the municipality of Bethlehem in the presence of many interested people in tourism and in the history of Bethlehem. And I think Bethlehem deserves to have a book for itself in order to help tourists who come here not only to visit the Church of Nativity, but also to help them to move in the streets of Bethlehem and to reach the important places very easily. So it is useful, this book, for someone to read first prior to coming to the Holy Land, to prepare for what is to be seen. It also works well as on-the-spot handbook for a person walking the streets, and as a reference for the tourists in the hotel room planning the next day's activity. Of course, the text is presented with the pictures together, and we have almost 175 pictures in color. Many of them are panoramic pictures. The size of the book is almost 180 pages, and the material is presented in a brief way and with interesting explanation. We mentioned the important facts and the practical advices on how to walk through Bethlehem and other cities in the Holy Land. Of course, when we wrote first the book, we wrote 400 pages, but we thought that this is not convenient for a tourist. And the size of the book should be small and easy to handle and to put in your pocket or in your bag. So we omitted many things, and we kept the most important facts in the book only.
And what's your prayer finally for Bethlehem, for the city?
I pray for peace for Bethlehem, because Bethlehem was full of Bethlehemite families. Many of them left the town and immigrated to many parts of the world because of the difficulties created by the occupation. So we want peace to come back to Bethlehem in order so the Bethlehemite can come back to their town. But we want peace to be in Bethlehem because the message of peace came out of Bethlehem. And we don't want the town where the message of peace emanated to be surrounded by a wall, closed, and life is difficult. So all what we hope in this season of Christmas, that peace will come soon. And we want this to be felt by all the Christians around the world. This is a place which symbolizes the Christianity and the message of Jesus Christ. So should be protected and cared about not only by the Bethlehemites who are living here, but by all Christians. We want you to keep the Holy Land in peace, because the land of the Prince of Peace should live in peace. This is what Christians should do.
Well, Qustandi Shomali, thank you very much.
You're welcome.